Welcome to Hunt Harvest Health podcast with your host, Ryan Lampers, aka the Stealthy Hunter.
Howdy.
And myself, Dr. Hillary Lampers, where we share our love for ancestral living and the health topics of the modern age. Ryan is the well-rounded bearded brawn of Hunt Harvest Health. His knowledge of backcountry adventure, western hunting, and our household status as garden guru and super dad really defines our gut stealthy lifestyle.
Doc Hillary is definitely the brains and beauty behind all of this. She kind of makes everything happen, as I have zero technical skills. Hill is just a wealth of knowledge in all things medicine and nutrition, which not only keep our family healthy, but they help me stay strong in all my mountain adventures.
You can follow us at huntharvesthealth.com, Instagram, and Facebook for more podcasts, recipes, and stories.
All right, let's do this.
Welcome back to the Hunt Harvest Health podcast. This is Dr. Hillary. I'm sitting here with Ryan. It is spring, folks, and around our house, that means it's usually a ton of work, cleanup, starting on the garden, and we just get kind of busy.
And we've been setting up a train to hunt course, which
yes,
has sucked up a little bit of time. So
yes,
we've got Washington train to hunt this next weekend, actually.
Yeah, so if you haven't signed up yet or you're interested, if you're local, if you're not local, we have people coming literally from all over the United States to compete in ours, which we feel super blessed about, that people want to come all the way up here into basically the farthest corner of the United States to do a train to hunt. But we are going to be putting that on this Saturday, May 5th, out on our family property. And there's a little bit of confusion about directions and where it is because it is kind of out there and it's not really on the grid, let's say. So make sure you go to our website at huntharvesthealth.com. There is a tab there for Train to Hunt. Everything will be on there. Train to Hunt website should also have it, but, we will have it for sure. We're also going to have a meet and greet on Friday night the 4th at our favorite little pizza joint in town, Omega Pizza, from 6 to 8. So if you're hearing this and you're coming and you're like, you want to do something Friday night, that's where we're going to be.
Yeah, it's going to be fun.
Yeah. And
there's not many pizza joints that have like a big old 6-point bull elk head in the pizza joint. And this one does. So it's great.
Alex is the owner. He's a hunter and we love to support his business. Plus his parents, his dad is Greek. And so you're getting like authentic Greek food. It's super yummy. So come join us there. Saturday is going to be a killer course. It might go down in Train to Hunt history as one of the most difficult courses out there.
Wow, we'll see. I think we set it up pretty good. It's going to be there's some good steeps there, and hopefully we got some good shots. So we should be setting targets up this week, and we want to make it hard.
Well, for those of us who live at sea level, it's pretty hard. But for some of the competitors maybe coming from, 5,000, 8,000 feet, I don't know. It may not be that hard, but I think it's a pretty hard course. And it's in the rainforest. It's beautiful this time of year. Everything's popping out super green. So it's really the Pacific Northwest is such a stellar place, even if it's raining. And you can probably bet there's going to be some rain.
Yeah.
So bring your rain gear, bring your hiking boots, bring chairs. If you want to bring a cover to set up, like, a tent pop-up, bring that. Kids are all welcome. There's a small kids event. The kids are going to be having tons of fun. So bring your kids and let them play with all the other Train to Hunt kids. And, it's going to be a great time. So go to our website, huntharvesthealth.com, Train to Hunt, and get all the details. Because I think how many more are left after this one? A few other states. If you go to traintohunt.com, you can see all the other states. I think Colorado, Wyoming.
Montana is this same weekend.
Yeah, Montana. So if you're in Montana, go to Billings. They've got a Train to Hunt going on there. And just become a part of it. It's a great community. we are super excited to be introducing these guys that we interviewed while we were at the BHA Roundup in Boise, Idaho this year.
Yeah, they're born and raised outdoors, so most of us know who they are. This year they happened to put out a really cool project, one of the coolest projects in this community that I've seen, and that was 50 days or 52 days, something like that, straight hunting in 5 different states, all on public land. So they've got the project named Land of the Free, and it was super fun to follow along after they went through the entire season, all elk hunting, and then come November they put it out for all us to kind of watch and check it out and follow along on a daily basis, and it was super cool and really enjoyed it. And yeah, they're just good guys, and they're so good for the community. Just down to earth type people, and they love to hunt, they love to fish. They don't just elk hunt, but they steelhead fish. They do a lot of things outdoors, and just great guys. So we were super happy to talk to them and spend an hour with them in Boise and just get to know them a little better.
Yeah, I like this podcast. We obviously talked hunting, but I think we talked a lot about business. We talked about, the whole just something going so big like this and just how humbling it is for them. And I just love how down to earth they are. And, I don't really feel like in the hunting community, we talk about this a little bit. Like the word celebrity, we've talked to a lot of these people that quote unquote would be celebrities. And what I love about this community, and like when we went to the Born and Raised, they sold out a theater in, where was that, Longview?
Longview, Washington, yeah.
And, it's like everybody in there is it's cool. Everybody's on the same level and just wanting to learn and be friends. And it's pretty cool. So we enjoyed this podcast. If you want to see the show notes or listen to it on our website, you can at huntandharvesthealth.com/podcast/bro, BRO. All right. Enjoy.
Man, I feel like we need like that song.
I know.
Before this podcast even starts.
Oh.
What is it, Savages?
Savages.
Yeah.
I actually told them on the way here because our kids watch that with us every night.
Oh.
And they would get so excited. You just turn the theme song on, and my 9-year-old just start doing flips in the house, literally, because she's like a bendy, acrobatic kid. She's just like cartwheels and flips, and she had a whole dance routine, and we recorded it. And Ryan's phone broke, so we don't have it. But I told him we should show him the theme song, the dance she used to do.
It's amazing how many emails we would get with kids dancing to that song.
Oh,
we should make a
we should.
It should.
It would be cool.
You got. Let me start by saying this. You guys brought a lot of joy to our house because it could have been a kind of a dull night, and then we would kick on your show. And, we'd watch the first part, and then the song would come on.
Yeah.
I don't even know the name. Is it Savages?
Savages,
okay.
Yeah.
And then that would come on, and my house would come alive.
Well,
my little one would start dancing. My big one would start doing flips and cartwheels, and it was, like, energized.
Well,
awesome.
The Pacific Northwest when did you guys put that out? Like
November.
Okay,
so
so
started.
Yeah.
November, December, like the weather sucks. It's dark. I feel like
go to work in the dark.
5 o'clock, and it's raining outside. So days are short. You get home, you have dinner. It's nice. It's that time of year you kind of hibernate. You go to bed earlier. Maybe even eat dinner earlier. But it was like every night we'd cook dinner, and then we'd put the computer on the table, and then we'd turn it on, and it's like dark outside and gloomy. It's just perfect time to launch something. So cool. Because at least where we live, in the part of the world where we live, it's like you're a captive audience because you're inside, and it was perfect because we could watch that before the kids needed to go to bed and stuff. And that's where my 3-year-old, she's 3 today, she's like, elk. That was she knows daddy's elk, but they watch that every night, so she started like pointing elk, and like that's kind of where she started talking about elk, which we thought was kind of funny.
That is cool.
Daddy's elk are a lot bigger than our elk, though.
I don't think so.
No, daddy's elk, none of them are on film.
No.
They just show up and then get put in a room, and there's not like the whole filmed story of it.
It's so funny. I think if we had our big and our 9-year-old here, she'd probably be so starstruck. She'd be, and she's not shy. She'd be over in the corner just kind of giggling that you guys are sitting here.
No.
It's because you guys are like on the big screen.
How is that now? Is it weird? I mean, is it like overwhelmingly stressful, happy, like going places now? And it seems like, I mean, because now, like last night we were talking to some guy, he had your shirt on, you know, like you guys' shirt on. And everybody's, you know, I don't know. And then we went to the Kody Rich podcast thing, and the guy sold out a theater.
Yeah.
And it was crazy.
It was I mean, I think that, you know, we've been making content for 10 years, but like doing the DVDs, then the TV shows to digital, like there was a disconnect between, we'd put stuff out, and, you know, when you'd see people every once in a while, like, hey, we love your DVD, and it was great. And then when we went digital, like all of a sudden that connection just like, whoosh, and we had this community, the online interaction, the comments, like it was all real time. And I don't think it really hit us until we did, Steve Speck said, hey, we got this EXO Christmas party. We want you guys to come. We're like, okay, well, how many can we do? What, you know, and in 49 minutes it sold out. Like,
wow,
just crashed the website. Like it was just crazy. And we're like,
it was
what
amazing.
the heck? Guy from Tennessee, Kansas, like came out, and we were like, what
was the date on that again?
It was like December 9th or 8th or something like that. So it was right through the middle of everything, and it was kind of a last minute idea. And meeting those people and then doing the podcast, it was really humbling. Like people were.
Yeah. So did you guys, I mean, I'm sure mid-season and throughout the hunt, you guys knew, or did you know, or when did you know, I guess is how I should ask this, that it was going to be a success?
Never.
Not until that point.
No. So we did the whole project, and we're jacked about it. You know, it was awesome. And so, okay, now we got to produce this thing. So we've been gone for 50 days, and we get back, and we get about 15 days because we came back about the 17th of October, and then November 1st we were starting the first episode, and so we had one episode done.
Yeah.
And by the November 1st, and then that same day we started the uncuts. When we put the uncuts in, we didn't
literally the day before, like an idea. We talked about it. We're like, that's a lot of work, but we wanted this real time live type of.
Is the uncut where you guys were talking?
Yeah.
Those are great. Like it wouldn't have been the same without those.
And we wanted that. We just kind of, Cody's the one that thought it up. He's like, we got to tell them, you know, just kind of go through how we felt about it, just to make it real and make it, you know, in person for them. And so we're going, okay, we'll just do it a 1 to 3 minute. That's what we'll do. We'll just say, this is how I felt about the hunt. This is the way it went, blah, blah, blah. And it morphed into something totally, I mean, with shout outs. I had a guy come up to me yesterday. He's like, hey, I just can't tell you how, you know, you shouted out my daughter, and it was really cool. So it's just like, it morphed into something more and bigger than we could even explain. And then like Christmas party was probably the time where it was just like, I cannot believe people, I mean, everybody it sold out in like 45 minutes, 400 and some odd people. And that was just the people that heard it in that 45 minutes was what just was like crazy to me. So anyway, and then going, like you said, to the podcast was just.
And, you know, and that's like when we were filming it, we didn't know if there was 5 people, 500 or 5,000 were going to watch it. So you're talking, especially like Trent. I mean, he was there every day. He was the man that carried like the camera every single day all the way through the project.
He was there every day, right?
Yeah. My son was 6 weeks old when season opened when I left. So I was gone. I got a hall pass for it was 28 days. Came back for like a 12 to 14-day period, and then went back out to Montana, and Trent was there the entire time, every hunt, all the way through. So, I mean.
And I wanted to do it because I thought that was important to tell the story and just to go through the whole thing. I talked to my family about, obviously, my wife. Kendra's awesome, and said, you know, this is important to me. She was like my rock through the whole thing. I mean, there was times, you know, when you've been there, when it gets nasty, and you're just like, man, I've been out here 40 some odd days. I kind of want to go home.
Yeah.
And she's just like, I call her up on the phone. She's like, you better stay there and finish this. So
that's cool.
It was really cool.
It's a good lady. Now, so for those that have not heard the story or have even watched, there's probably not many that have, but maybe tell everybody the sacrifices you made, like when you went into this. You gave up the work that you'd been doing to put it all into this project.
Absolutely. So we thought up the project, we were just sitting down and we thought of brainstorming and what can we do that someone's never done, and how can we create continual content. So the obvious thing is to do a hunt the whole season long. And what we ended up doing was 5 states. And it ended up being, 50?
It was 52 days, 50 days of hunting,
something
basically.
like that. And hunting 5 states and then collaborating with a lot of the top people in the industry for elk. And like Elk 101 and Phelps Game Calls and
Pure Elevation,
Hushin'. And so we did that, and we thought this whole plan up, and it was really neat. Everyone we went to asked them. They said, absolutely. And so that was really humbling. And then we're like, now we have to do it. So,
yeah.
And I cut timber for 18 years, and it's always been my dream. We've been doing Born and Raised for about 10 years now, and it's been our dream to kind of just do it full time. And so we went to ATA. We got funding for the project, and the whole plan was for me to take off. Kody was going to work full time on it.
Well, there's like kind of like the nuts and bolts deeps of this. We thought this up, went to ATA, and pitched this, and I was there also at the time doing Full Draw Film Tour. So I was in the transition of, is it going to sell? Well, we'd have these meetings and everyone like, okay, yeah, Full Draw. Okay, yeah. We want to hear about Born and Raised. So I'm like day 2 of ATA in depression mode because I'm trying to make Full Draw. Like I'm at a point where I feel like I'm going to buy my business partner out and go down this hole. And then it was like that flight home. I think one of the big turning points of this all, that flight home, flew Southwest, forgot to check in. So, it's like,
you get the
we're like
C32.
seats. And I was like,
Yeah.
We go up to the counter and said, is there any way we could is there any upgrades left? She's like, yeah, I got 3. So we got on the plane, had 3 seats in exit row, and that flight from, I don't know if it was in Indianapolis that year.
I think so.
That flight there was like, we just broke down the barriers. Here's the concerns. Like, he wants to do this full time. I want to sell Full Draw. I want to do this full time. Trevor was there with it. And basically that flight home was like okay, we're all in. Like, there's no doubt we can do this. And so that was like
life-changing.
Yeah, it was a crazy, thinking about it, like goosebumps, just that conversation. And
no kidding.
And so we got home and said, okay, ladies, my
hey,
wife,
honey,
Andrea,
I'm quitting my job.
Yeah, so we sat down, had a family meeting, and just all the cards on the table. Here's what we're going to do. And it was like March 2nd. I still remember it was the day that Hush came. We do an annual steelhead trip. And I was running the numbers through and doing all this, and Full Draw was selling. Jade was buying Full Draw, and that was going through, so everything's planned. I'm like, called Trent. I'm like, today's your last day. You're going to hang the saw up, and when you get over here to Roseburg, Born and Raised full time. And that was a
pretty emotional day.
Wow.
Yeah.
No kidding.
Yeah.
So was everybody on the board, like the whole group?
As far as the people
and
we
the wives,
asked.
was there anybody that had any concerns as far as, is this a good idea?
Obviously, with any
future?
big decision family-wise, my wife was like, hey,
some long conversations.
Yeah, there was. But at the same time, my wife stayed at home with the kids, and which is the way that we both decided to raise the kids. And so she knew from me, it's like, okay, you are going to make it. You have to. You don't have a choice. So she trusted me in that whole aspect of it, which was really cool. But there's definitely there's been some tight times. That's no lie.
Well, coming into October, like after the whole hunt.
Here's the truth of it right here,
guys. This is like, then we get done. We're in the production. I'm going through the budget, and I'm like, we got about 2 weeks worth salary left, and that point, like with me selling Full Draw, I didn't take a dime this last year. It was like we just made this so we could, any kind of sacrifice we could. And it wasn't until we kicked off the project and did a couple things, and the next thing you know,
saw the response.
Saw the response and the support from people. It was just, it was a humbling experience.
Amazing.
So Trent, did you have it in your head that you were probably going to go back to
I did.
the woods?
Oh, yeah. No, I think both of us did it a couple different times. It was like, okay, I'm going to take 6 months off. What we're going to do is do this project, shoot it, and then edit it, and then I'll go back, which I would have been happy with at the time as far as, getting to do something I love for 6 months out of the year. That's not terrible. So.
Well, even then, I mean, in October, right at the last point, it was like, well, maybe you'll cut 3 or 4 days a week. I think I can handle vocally editing. I mean, Trent was the one, he rough cutted the entire, like the whole series every single day. He'd have the day roughed out. I'd come in behind, clean up, and then, put the touches on it and finish it. And so I'm like, he was way ahead on the rough cut, and where we were looking at, it's like maybe make a phone call and pick up the saw for a little bit. But we were.
I kind of have this as I get older, I guess, sometimes I think when you're younger, you just think like, well, later, I'll do that, or that's not reality. I couldn't really do that for a living, or, I'll worry about later. I got young kids now and stuff. And I always tell Ryan now, because, we're over 40 and it's like, we're not getting any younger. Even when we started this project, which was just kind of a side hobby thing, I was like, we're not getting any younger. Like, let's just do it and see what happens. And I think when you make a big decision like that, like, are we going to change our jobs? Are we going to do all that? At some point you just have to jump off a cliff. Like, it's kind of like getting married at the right time, having kids at the right time, getting the perfect job at the right time. Like, there's really never a right time.
No,
like,
never.
But as you get older, you start to see like, okay, I got maybe only half my life left, or I got more years behind me than I got ahead of me. It's like, let's get on with this. So if it doesn't work out, well, I guess I could go back to cutting trees.
And I always could. That is the thing too. It's a trait that I always could. I still get calls, and that's not a big deal as far as that goes.
We were talking about this with Randy on podcast earlier. It's like, what's failure? I mean, if you live in this little box your entire life, I mean, this comfort zone, this is what what life is. And until you get yourself out of that, being uncomfortable, that grows a little bit. And it's like everything, I mean, I don't know. And I was telling a good friend of mine that moved here in Boise, it was like, we're in a office space called The Loft, and it's an entrepreneurship hub. So there's like 8 businesses up there, and it's been life-changing for me. And our, like, we have a monthly mastermind. We sit down, and it's like,
it's great.
We talk. It's what really helped us.
Oh, man.
Like, when we launched the project, like, we didn't know how we could monetize or what could happen to help this, and they threw some ideas, and it was like game changing. But anyways, Tristan, he's like, you have to get comfortable being uncomfortable to do anything in life that you want. Like, it's never going to be easy, and you just have to like feel that, okay, I know this is going to be hard right now, but embrace it. And
and I think it's cool that you guys had each other to do that, because that's really helpful. I think a lot of people don't jump ship because they don't have the support network. So they just don't ever take their idea and go with it because it's too much, by themselves. So
you miss 100% of the shots you don't take, right?
Yeah, Wayne Gretzky.
True.
So it's been a learning. The whole thing is, because I mean, I ran a business in cutting and stuff like that, but not like this, where you totally different.
Well, it's a new skill. Like I was telling you guys earlier, I had to learn how to edit, just to edit a podcast, to do audio. I don't do that. I like talk to patients all day, like editing. So I taught myself that. And you're teaching yourself a whole new skill. Not only that, social media. I don't know, like socialization of how society is now.
That was my jump
and
right there.
And that
was
really
social
hard
media,
for Ryan.
Just talking to people this long, and it's
putting
just
it
not.
out there.
It's never been my thing, and that's my. She's pushed me and pushed me and pushed me into being uncomfortable. I've always been good about uncomfortable with, say, physical challenges and weather type things where you just got to be mentally tough, but out of my comfort zone when it comes to speaking in public or doing this podcast, she's the one that pushed me out of that.
I remember talking to her last year about this, pushing you to
and this is honestly the most scary thing for me, is this kind of stuff, just podcasting. And I think I'm getting a little bit better at it.
You're getting a lot better at it.
The public speaking part, I've gotten way better than I was prior to me getting up in front of anybody, whether it was 5 people or 10. I couldn't do it.
Well, he can fill up rooms now. I mean, he got asked last year to speak at Sportco.
Filling up rooms.
And this year he spoke again, and the room was full. Like,
Rob,
there's no
Robbo was
seats
telling me about
left.
that. It was crazy.
And it's not because it's just that he just has a lot of experience. And I think that's the other thing with what you guys have done. You've been in the business for 10 years. You've been putting consistent content out here and there, even with other jobs. And we know almost everybody in the industry has other jobs, right? That's sometimes you think they don't, and then you find out they have another job, and you're like, what? Well, yeah, we all have these other things. And but you've been kind of there, consistent, doing it. People know you. You have experience. You're not, and I think that's the hardest thing for younger people coming in is like getting in there, getting their foot in the door for any industry, really. How do you do that when you're so young and you don't have any experience? And hunting, I'm not a hunter, but to me, it's like an experience thing. People want the magic, like, what's the secret? What's the secret sauce to this? And Ryan's like, hard work. Years, time, suffering.
It's a conglomeration of all kinds of little things.
There's no secret, But I think that effort. Age and then the consistency builds on that. So it's probably why too your success was so big, was because you didn't just come out of nowhere, do this project. You guys have
it's interesting though, because I feel like when you guys first started so many years ago, now I'm from the Pacific Northwest, I'm from Washington coast. So it was like there was this cult type underground following of Born and Raised, like all these guys, but it wasn't huge. It wasn't, well known like you are now.
Right.
But I felt like it was a Pacific Northwest thing, like almost coastal Roosevelt hunter.
Yeah,
it was.
No, yeah, for sure. Because it's like, that's what we started it is, you turn on the Sportsman or Outdoor channel and it's like, ranch hunt in Colorado, guided this, that, whitetail.
Which there's nothing wrong with that. No, don't get me wrong.
It's just, it wasn't relatable because we'll go for a week and not hear a bull or see an elk. And, so like it just wasn't, and that's what it all started on. It was just, we wanted to share our experience because there was nothing out there that we felt. And the two things that inspired us was Joe and Jason on Foot Films. You ever seen that 2 Weeks in Purgatory?
I remember the DVD sitting at all the local mom and pop sporting goods shops.
Sure. But so Joe and Jason filmed, two brothers filmed this epic adventure in Hell's Canyon, and I mean, they would do shots, and like here they are packing out this bull, and they'd pack it up over the mountain. Camera was down there; they'd have to go back down. I mean, you could see like
it was really good.
What the effort they went into. It was like holy cow! And then a friend that we later met, Justin Crump. He's up from your area. They did this Trout Bum Diaries, and we watched that DVD, and it was like the combination between the elk hunting inspiration and the filmmaking side of what they did with Trout Bum Diaries in New Zealand. It was like, I want to do that, but in Roosevelt country, and that's what kind of like started it all.
Right. But yeah, I had never really witnessed anything out there that showed kind of the coastal or Pacific Northwest style of, I don't know if I want to say running and gunning, but moving and shaking, calling, looking for that one bull that's going to fight.
Yep.
And I haven't seen that on too many DVDs or video, or just what you see on the Outdoor channel. I haven't seen that style. So I think that was really unique, and it was almost like everybody wanted to know what goes on up in this little corner.
Yeah.
And now they see it. And obviously it's not like it's something that only works here. It's you guys just proved it works everywhere. Yeah. Your guys' style that was always, for all those years, so effective for coastal Rosies, it works on all those Western states.
Well, and it wasn't until, I think it was the first year of the Northwest Mountain Challenge here, it was bogus, and it was like 2010, 11, somewhere in there. I heard Corey Jacobson doing a seminar, and he was talking, and it was like, we never like talked or sat back and looked how we hunted. We just went and did our thing, and really wasn't a strategy or like what we did. We just reacted to the situation, and the way he was talking, and it was like, oh, okay, that makes sense why this happened. And that's what all those things kind of align, that it's exactly what we did and how we formed, how we hunted, but didn't ever like sit back and think about it. And
sure.
It was crazy to hear how his tactics and aligned just exactly like what we did growing up hunting off mountain bikes. So.
Right. So how long have you guys known each other?
We met in 2001.
Yeah, so we're married to twin sisters.
That's the connection.
Yeah, that's how Kody and I know each other. Yeah.
Okay.
So, and then
he met me. I had a thumb ring. He judged me.
Judged was
it was
very judged.
Sometimes they need to be judged.
Yeah. So Andrea
bingo.
Andrea takes me to her grandpa's birthday party. And anyways, Trent's like, oh, hey, you're from Roseburg, huh? The Valley, coast guy, judging. And
I don't know.
no, it was funny. It's like we were two Toms strutting up because it was like, you fish? Yeah. You steelhead fish? Oh, yeah. You got a drift boat? Yeah. You got a drift boat? Yeah. You hunt? I mean, we just like back and forth, like, you hunt? Yeah.
Then the thumb ring came out and I said, got you. I got you.
So, yeah, no, it was kind of instant bond. And then Trevor's his brother. And then Steve. Well, Ty Stubblefield was, it was when we first started. I lived in Roseburg. Ty lived in Roseburg. We started hunting together before that. They were like, well, we need another guy. I need a guy to hunt with in Roseburg while you guys hunt the coast. We all started there, and then Steve Howard in 2008 joined us and started filming with us. So that's kind of the whole rolling out from there.
And was it always elk? Was it blacktail?
It was blacktail at first, and
That's
we
how it
realized.
started.
Well, no, it was elk. It was always elk, and then it was like, so we're filming this. We're filming blacktail, right? Until we realized it's harder to film blacktail than like a successful blacktail hunt with a bow and arrow. It was.
We've yet to film a.
Anyway,
Yeah.
maybe not. I don't know. Maybe not.
I mean, like a harvest blacktail, we've yet to get a.
But it was that whole thing where elk are such vocal animals, and you could tell a story from when you start the bugling to when the setup and everything. With the deer hunting, we never did the tree stand thing, so it was two guys walking through the woods in the rut, with the late season Oregon, and here comes a deer or something. Hurry, turn the camera on. It was just not the story. It didn't really have the legs that like elk hunting had.
Yeah, it's funny because I've heard a lot of people talk about you guys, and you guys, it was so energetic and such a cool story with the elk, and you guys show the interaction. And a few guys have asked me, like, well, why don't they do blacktail hunting, or why don't they do steelhead fishing? And, an easy question, but my wonder is, how do you make it as exciting as an elk hunt on film? Personally, I'm a mule deer guy. I love mule deer. I love elk hunting. But if I had one thing, it would be mule deer.
Really?
But I know for a fact that it would never translate like your guys' videos would, because you don't have that interact. You don't have the scream fest. You don't have the cow calling, all that, and then running in on them. It's a slow-paced, very methodical chess matchup.
Which has its own awesomeness, right?
Yeah.
I mean, totally.
But it's just maybe not pleasurable for the viewer to watch.
It's definitely quiet, and it's intense, but it's like subtle intensity.
Well, it just touches on more emotions.
I'm hoping you guys are able to pull it off. We've done it with the elk. Blacktail. Is it in the cards? Are you guys going to try?
There's nothing that's not in the cards. We do a lot of rifle. Not a lot of rifle. We're starting to get into the rifle thing because I grew up rifle hunting for deer. We always bow hunted for elk, and I enjoy it. I really, really do. And taking youth out, we did. How many did in all? Did Trevor and
I think
three youth kids out and this year, and got them bucks, and it's just fun to to do that, and I enjoy that. But a bow deer hunt is still probably on the list of something we need to probably actually accomplish one of these days. But
yeah,
I don't know.
So tough to bring that excitement into it. Like
it
an
is.
Elk hunt.
It
and
is.
that, I mean, I started tree stand hunting about 4 years ago for blacktail, so it's
boring.
A lot of time just reading a book, or it's anything to pass the time, and it's So it's
it almost have to be. Both your guys' personalities would have to be like highlighted the entire time.
There you go.
Yeah, there'd be a lot of like deep thought.
And the
There would
climactic
be
part
too.
would be the kill.
exactly.
Followed by a quick fight, followed by deep thought. Yeah.
Have you ever got a blacktail?
Yeah. But it's been a lot of years. The early days with the muzzleloader.
Oh,
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah. We used to chase them down there on the Columbia River in oak tree country, so acorns.
Really?
But
Okay.
almost a bench leg, but they were considered blacktail.
We hunt some ground like that it's part of the unit's Pope and Young, and then part of the unit's not.
Right.
But it's I've hunted blacktail in California, and I mean I love it. The hard part, like this project, I hunted for 2 hours total this year, late blacktail season, and it was 2 1-hour periods because just editing.
We didn't get to do anything hardly.
felt so guilty when I was not editing. I'm like, I got to get that video done. And so I didn't even, like, my head wasn't even into it.
So how is that feeling? Because who were we talking to the other night, and they were saying something like, you know, you dream your whole life about making a job out of your passion, and now you make a job out of your passion. You don't actually get to do your passion because now you're busy doing all the business end of it. So obviously if you're hunting 50 days, you're getting to hunt 50 days, but the rest of the year, I know for Ryan, when I tried to talk him into doing a lot of this stuff, he'd be like, why would I want to work, like make hunting work? Because he used to be a guide in Alaska for fishing, and he just slowly, like when I met him, he was a big steelhead fisherman and a fly fisherman. And then 7 years in Alaska, he just, in Russia a couple years, he just kind of was like, I hate guiding. And then the fishing just kind of became, you know, he got more into big game hunting, but that's kind of the question is like, right, where's that happy medium where you can actually still enjoy it? And then in this day and age of social media, can you actually just go out on a hunt anymore, not have to tape it, not have to film it, just enjoy it, not make it a social media event or feel like you have to, like, oh, I should be Insta-storying this. You know, I feel like everybody's doing that nowadays. And
you're totally right. Totally right. I mean, it is the whole, everybody Insta-stories everything, right? And if we go do something and it's like we look at each other, just like yesterday, we had a camera the whole day. We brought it to the rendezvous and everything, and then when we got there, it was just people talking to us because we had this plan of going around to everybody and interview them a little bit on public lands. We never even made it 20 yards inside the thing, and it was like we didn't turn the camera on all day. So
we have a huge problem with that. Did we even get a picture of that today? And it's like, no. And I'm like, oh my gosh. Then people are like, you need to get impressions on your Insta story. And Ryan's like, dude, I don't even do that. Yeah. So it's like too much.
It's that happy medium that we talk about all the time.
Finding the balance. I mean, we also, like, the last thing we want to do is self-promote, you know, like brag about what's going on. And it wasn't, we were following a guy, Gary V, if you guys.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and it's
Gary
like
V.
You document and share it. And it's nothing about boasting what's going on. And then one of the guys in the office is like, you guys are doing a disservice by not sharing this with people. And it was like.
And that was hard for us to start doing, really hard. Because you hate just being watch me do it. It just doesn't look right. It feels totally wrong.
I take pictures of Ryan now in the garden digging dirt. Yeah. And he's like, what are you doing? What are you doing? And I'm like, we got to document this. And he's like, get out of here. Yeah. Like, nobody wants to see me digging dirt. And I'm like, yes, they do.
Manure into my raised beds. And there's nothing exciting here.
And he's like, no. And I'm like, yeah. He's like, no. And I'm like, yeah. And then you Insta story it or you put it on there and it gets more likes than anything. I said, people like seeing you dig dirt out of the garden.
She actually sneaks the daughter out there with the phone and to do it now.
Isn't that something, though, that people want to watch that?
They do.
He thinks it's ridiculous. I mean, it's taken me a couple years now to get him to realize that people, for some reason, they want to see those little moments that you share that you feel like are.
But then again, you know, I've thought that for a long time. But I was talking to Tim Burnett, and he said, you know what, though? You almost owe it to us because you've laid it out there, and now we want to see what you're doing. You know, we're curious, we're interested, we want to learn maybe for certain things. Yeah. But that kind of resonated a little bit. With our platform, you know, a lot of people think of us as like garden people. We have these little secrets and tips and stuff like that. So they look at us as if there's something they can learn. And
so which is great about having like you guys on, because we have a following that's not hunters. You know, which
is awesome.
We have like health people and gardening and foodies, and so we really want to showcase people that are in hunting and like making a living out of it and doing the whole online thing and creating a business out of that, because we have like other listeners who are doing that as well, but not in hunting, right? And so we want to share that I feel like hunting is an untapped market still. Mm-hmm. And that's maybe why you guys are awesome. And like you said, you're not bragging on yourself. Like, that's why your videos are so fun to watch. Like, even the kids get into it.
But you guys have those personalities that everybody wants a little piece of every day.
Oh, boy.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, boy.
Yep. You're in trouble. It's the monster you got to feed now.
I'll say it.
Yeah.
You owe it to us now.
You owe it to us. You owe it to us.
Yeah. But it's good to share that stuff. But there's a point, I think, right, maybe, I don't know, you could tell me. You're like, okay, we're going to go on a steelhead trip just because we want to go, not because we want to share it. Or, you know, is there Like, where is that happy medium?
We had an experience. I mean, I know for me personally, 2014, we decided we weren't going to film Roosevelt hunting. We were going to film in Colorado, but we weren't going to film locally. First time that we'd set the camera down in 7 years.
Just to try it, just because it was just, it was a lot of the same stuff.
Yeah,
right?
we weren't sure where we were going, what we were doing, and that weekend was unbelievable. Ty killed a bull.
You killed a bull.
I killed a buck. Killed a bull. I mean, it was. We had an elk encounter. I shot with my recurve at 7 yards, and it was the most
amazing,
most amazing experience I've had, like archery hunting. And at the end of it, we're like, I mean, it was special for the four of us. It was Steve, Trent, Trevor, and I.
Sure.
It's incredibly special, but we didn't have that chance to like go back and watch the footage or see. And that was like, yeah, that was kind of a letdown, honestly, by not capturing that.
Sure.
Yeah.
I could see that.
It was after we'd done it so much. So,
and I think there's definitely you do need to step back and look at it a lot. Just like, what are we doing? Okay, so we do like a fishing trip that maybe wouldn't film. Just let's go have fun. But when we're filming, we're still having fun. We are. But there's definitely, you got to have your times, and now I'm getting into where my son, he's 11 right now. He'll be 12 in June, so he can hunt. And I've filmed quite a bit of Wyatt and before. And so I don't know, there's a thing, how much do you want to do and get your kids into and take them down this road with you? And so there's definitely questions like that I think everybody should answer, before they just jump right into it and make their kids do, a personality, because it's going to so many people. I don't know. I sometimes have to take a step back.
We're confronted with that even just a little bit with us, because we include our girls and stuff because they're just part of the garden. They're part of that stuff. Sure. And, our older one went bear hunting with Ryan this year, and we made a video of it. And then I see people, they don't show their kids on social media and stuff. And then I'm like, oh, no, should I not be showing my kids on social media?
No, I'm the same way.
And then it's like, well, maybe when they're 12, you ask them, do you want this to be on video? Maybe they're not mature enough to even know what that means. And they're 12, and they're like, heck yeah, I want it to be on video. Sure. Like, that's what's in now. So it's not like all these decisions that, like, none of us had when we were 12, It was like you just went out with your dad and did it. And
his son Wyatt wants to start a YouTube channel.
Yeah, our daughter has a YouTube channel, and she wants to start a podcast.
He wants to, or?
Yeah, he does. I mean, it's crazy because you look at the kids when we were that doesn't seem like that long ago when we were growing up, and it was just like, I wanted to be a firefighter, a lot of people, astronaut, a lot of people, now the number one thing is I want to be a YouTube star, if you ask kids.
No kidding.
Isn't that something?
Wow.
So it's like, okay, where are we headed here, and what is the right choice to make? Do I say, oh yeah, go for it, show yourself and show everything? I don't know. To me, there's a safety issue there too. You guys are friends with
Hushin, and the Hushin empire and the Casey LeVere empire, or the LeVere's, like, my daughter has probably watched. When I met Casey in Salt Lake. Mm-hmm. He was talking to us about his garden when we were talking, and I was like, I didn't even know who Hushin was, but I knew who your brother and your wife was because my daughter watched his wife's YouTube channel with all the women.
Hey, Kaylee, and
I can't even remember, like, the songs. She had to memorize these songs that they would do. That's how I found out who they were, and then Ryan told me about Hushin, and I was like, that guy looks familiar. Is he? And then he's the guy in these other videos. And she must have watched those. That's how they get so many hits. My daughter probably watched those videos 1,000 times over and over and over again. But that's what they see, right? They just see these kids on YouTube, and they're documenting their lives. And I guess today that's a normal thing, right, for these kids.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Well, at Hunt Expo, our buddy Mark Boardman at Vortex.
Yeah.
He was like, there's – all of a sudden you're like, you got the Hush guys, and then you have the Hushettes and these 12-year-olds vlogging about seeing the Hush guys at the expo.
Crazy.
Like, hey, this is Casey, vlogging. It was just like, it was a kind of surreal experience. But I mean, we kind of go back to it. It's like, if it's in our why, and it's to entertain, educate, inspire, if we were doing that and producing content, sharing that, then we're in the right place.
Well, I would say you guys are doing it right.
I've said this before, but I've always known how real and down to earth and good the hunting community is. and the people that I associate with out there.
Sure.
And, for her, she just has never really been a part of it. But now she's, I would say, enamored with how just easy to talk to, down to earth, real people. You can have a conversation with any one of them, and just a totally different group. So yeah, it's super cool that. And I'll say this: we have never watched like outdoor television. For one thing, we don't have cable.
I watched Donnie Vincent's movie.
Rivers
Rivers
Divide.
Oh yeah.
And I was like, I don't know how many years ago that was. It was a lot of years ago.
She liked that because it was really cinematic and
2012.
artsy and beautiful.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I was like, you look like that dude, and he talks like you. Like, you guys are so similar.
Where's your beanie at?
Yeah.
Oh boy.
But when Gritty started teasing him about it, I was like, yes, that's what I said. But no, I liked it because it was cinematic, and I never really seen anything. You know, I just always seen Outdoor Channel, like,
It never
Primo's
really sucked her in. And so when you guys have your thing, and it was like 50 nights of super cool, the whole family got into it. She was into it. We could all watch it and just relate to you guys and how you guys all put it out there and just as totally normal folks, even though you're really rock stars at this point.
Yeah, no. The whole experience has been pretty mind-blowing, and meeting people. I mean, we've had some stories that, today shed a tear today and hugged a lady and her family, and listening to their story and how it was somewhat therapeutic as their son had just beat cancer after a 3-year battle, and it was like their family time together. And and she just how much we had affected her son being 13 years old and all his friends, and like influenced them to get excited about hunting. And they were from California and moved here to Idaho, and it was a pretty special moment just being able to talk to someone like that, hearing, you never know, like, you've got these views and you don't know who's viewing or what their story is behind, and hearing those kind of stories, it's like, that's awesome. We touched that one person, and so.
Well, my goal now is growing up in an anti-hunting family, being sort of a pseudo anti-hunter, married to a hunter for many, many years. My goal now is to really change the public's perception of hunters, because I think that obviously there's stereotypes and everything. Like,
sure.
Yeah, and I hate to say the Duck Dynasty, because Duck Dynasty is fun to watch and stuff, but the guy skinning his deer in the driveway while the kids are showing up, like, that's what people see, and they think of rednecks, and there's a lot of stereotypes.
Disney movie.
Disney is like, I never thought about that ever, but I lived in a family that didn't hunt, so I never thought about that. But now it's like, it's just every single time we watch a movie, the bad guy has heads on his wall. Beauty and the Beast is a great example of the narcissistic, chauvinistic jerk who kills animals for fun, right?
Yeah.
And I started, Ryan pointed that out to me, and I was like, oh, pff. And now it's like I watch it and I see it, and and I feel I just now it's like now I just want to say, there's stereotypes in everything. Like, you could take like vegans, like you could stereotype them a certain way, and there's plenty of vegans out there who aren't like that, right? But I'm impassioned now too, because I lived in a very liberal community for a long time. Like, a lot of people that I went to school with, I was in higher academia for a long time, and that's much more liberal than like the hunting community traditionally is. Yeah. But I'm just like, now I'm like, listen, stereotyping may have its place, but the truth is like getting the word out that hunters are like family driven, like kind. A lot of them are healthy, it's like drinking beer and shooting things like that. That is not what I've experienced, and providing clean meat for their families. And I just like, that's kind of my new mission now, and we got asked to be on a podcast with a friend of mine he's got 90,000 YouTube followers. He has a podcast on health and ketogenics. And he just launched his podcast today with us. He came to our house because he's like, I think people should know about hunting. Awesome. Like, it's a health podcast. So he's going to get so much backlash. Like, I can already tell, but he doesn't care, because he's like, people talk about healthy food. They're talking about ketogenesis. They're talking about meat. They have no clue what they're talking about. And he came and talked to Ryan, and pretty much Ryan talked the whole time. And that's my goal now, is to get the people over there, like these friends of mine who are coming seeing and they're meeting Ryan, they're like, wow, I would really like to do that. I would really like to provide that for my family. I would really like to learn how to archery hunt. That's my goal now, is to blend that, because I think that if you want to just talk about food, people just, healthy food, if you're going to eat meat, like most of the population does, you really should understand it. Obviously, we don't all want to hunt. Animals can't handle that kind of pressure, but that's my goal, is to change the stereotype of the hunter and to also help hunters out there who are stereotyping themselves.
Well, it's like you can scroll through Instagram right now and see bad content getting out there that's posted on the internet that puts hunting in a bad light.
Yeah.
And people get a hold of it, and it's in the digital era, it's a good and bad things, because the scalability of a message is infinite, but it can also be the wrong message that's portrayed.
Well, for me, I met Jana Waller last year at the BHA, and we sat at a dinner together. I had no clue who she was. She was the only other girl there, and we just hit it off and just talking about all kinds of things. We left. Ryan's like, you know who that was, right? I was like, no. She likes hunting. It's like, oh my gosh, that's Jana Waller. And we became friends. And you go to Jana Waller's house. I have a video on it. I just did a podcast with her. It's like a museum in that house. It's crazy. But she is such a genuine individual. And she's a minority, obviously, within the hunting world. And she is so attacked. When I launched that, I got attacked.
Really?
Because she's a woman. She's a hunter. Just people just attacking her. And she's like, no big deal. I just block them. She's 4,000 people on Facebook she's blocked.
It's amazing how negative people are.
And she's just, she hunts. And that's what she does, and she loves it, but she's just an awesome person. If you didn't know she hunted and you sat next to her in a restaurant at a table, you'd have an awesome conversation with her.
Yeah.
So I think that, things aren't for everybody. Not everybody has to do the same things. Not everybody has to believe the same things. But I think it's important for, especially in the United States, we have such a unique situation here, that the rest of the world may not have. Right? Public lands, the ability to walk out, go hunting, go fishing, go buy tags, great wildlife management. A lot of countries don't have. They destroyed that. You got to pay in other countries. You can't, everything's a high fence. There's no animals left. This is a unique situation. And so when the world judges, it's just because they live in areas where they just don't understand what it's like to live here and to have this. So that's, long story short, that's kind of my goal now, is to bring these worlds together and say, these are actually really wonderful, healthy people that aren't doing any harm to anybody, and they're providing good, healthy food for their families.
Yeah.
So,
the other side of it for us is portraying the positivity.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I mean, Joe Rogan says the best, crabs in a bucket, right? And they see crab coming up, and crab pulls that person down. So for us, it's like rising all tide. A rising tide raises all ships. And it was, that was our biggest thing, is promoting positivity, and anyone can do this, and let's join hands and be in force. It doesn't matter if you're a rifle hunter or a bow hunter or muzzleloader hunter, or come together on that mission, and portraying it in a positive light, right? And so
I'm curious, Kody and Trent, the social media thing. You just mentioned there's a lot of bad content out there that a lot of people see. Do you see where we're at right now with the social media and everything that's out there? Obviously, there's the other side. There's really good stuff like what you guys are putting out. Do you think that's helping or hurting hunting as a whole?
Awareness, like you mentioned, I think just like in the past 2 years, everybody can agree the whole organic thing has really taken off, and it's really actually, I think, in a positive light. I really do. It's been I think a lot of people have shown huge light on organic and getting your own organic meat, and these people that are out there ordering a steak, it still comes somewhere. It comes from somewhere,
right.
So, I do think, I think there is a lot of positive that is from it. I don't know.
I think, Rogan's done a great job.
I think so too.
He's in this other world, right? Yeah. And then he's
in the elite world of the people that would be
giant voice,
petitioning against
Right.
this kind of stuff,
Yeah.
and he's
Yeah.
bringing the reality of it.
And I think Cameron Haynes has done a pretty good job lately too.
Absolutely.
He's done a great job of just
Yeah, he's become a really good voice. He's actually
really has.
writing a lot more.
Yes.
And going really in detail and depth on a lot of these issues that we're facing today.
yeah.
So,
Yeah. So, I mean, I think it's tough because I kind of live in this small world. Like, I don't, outside of the little circle what's going on, I'm not paying attention so much in the world. And it's just because there's so much negativity and what's, like, I just try to block that out. So I think of what I've seen is positive, but I think that there's definitely some negative connotations of what social media can do and how it's shared.
I'm with you. I think there's a lot of positivity. Showing people, just introducing people to hunters, introducing people to, like we talked about with her community, showing them that we're not so bad.
Yeah.
We're just like they are. We care about food. We care about family. We care about all these, important things. The only thing that probably really scares me about social media is, you've heard the term viral, things going viral.
Yeah.
Like, it almost feels like one bad incident.
We're just one incident away.
Yeah. Like, it's like one bad portrayal or
Yeah.
just one mistake out there by someone could just like blow up.
And that's what, like in the Land of the Free project, I wounded a bull. I shoulder bladed a 5-point bull in Wyoming, and we sat back in the editing room and we're like, it's real. It happens. It happens to people. And both of I thought it anyway, and I Kody may not have voiced it, but I thought we were going to get tore apart for for showing that. And the first night we put it up there, and there was like 300 comments the first night, and I don't think there was one negative comment out of the whole project. It was really, really cool. It was just people just, Trent, keep your head up. And I was down. I mean, I was emotionally.
Oh, we could all see it.
But
yeah.
you know why that is, right? Because
we portrayed
you
it
actually, well, the cameras are on, but it's like you're not acting. So the camera's on and it's portraying what's happening.
Right.
And I think that sometimes we feel like, okay, we wounded an animal. And sometimes maybe that's that stereotype of like, you don't care.
There you
like,
go.
You're just out there shooting stuff. You don't care. But the truth is there's probably been more people that have done that than have been successful. So they felt it. They understand the emotional like anguish of that. And then they see that from you. And then they respect that you actually showed that. And it wasn't just like every shot is a success, right? And like, this is the truth. And then you were so upset about it. It was like so obvious that it really, really bothered you. And that just makes people say like, well, wow, he really cares.
Yeah.
He really respects the animal. Like he doesn't, but everybody makes a mistake. And I think that's what
I don't
want to
say that it was good that it happened, but if it was going to happen to anybody, it was almost good that it happened to you,
Appreciate
Trent, because you're a guy that you wear your emotions on your sleeve.
I do.
We can read your face and tell what
Yeah.
you're thinking, what you're feeling.
You're not a good liar.
No.
And so through that whole ordeal and through the uncut version and all that, everybody was able to actually like truly see how that made you feel and how it went down.
Yeah, it was it was emotional. Yeah, I still get emotional from it, but it was just, how it all went down, and then getting back up, and then the next, 2 days later?
No, the next day.
Was it the next day?
Yeah.
It was the last day of the hunt, and the way that whole roller coaster, as you know it is, it was.
Did you guys think about not putting that out? That episode?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
It was. Yeah. It was one that
definitely. It was talked about and talked about and talked about, and it was like, well, it was real. It has happened to more people than me, and that was the feedback. That was the cool thing is, then you get the emails, the tons of emails that come in. Hey, man, that happened to me. You helped me get through it.
Right.
Because
I learned
it's how do you get back up?
You know, that was.
It's so relatable. It just makes you guys even more relatable because all of us hunters have had something happen.
Oh yeah.
And so to hide it and make it out, every single experience out there almost perfect.
Yeah.
Every shot is executed perfectly, and every calling scenario just works, and they run in, and that's got to be frustrating for a young guy getting out there and just testing the waters and realizing that it's like, none of this works. How come it works for those guys?
Oh yeah.
I mean, it's great. I think people watching this are like, they're going to go out and they're going to think that elk hunting is easy. I mean, like in Oregon, we had an unbelievable experience killing bulls. and it was the best experience we've ever had in 12 years of archery elk hunting for Roosevelt's. So it looked easy, and then the reality is like everything just stars aligned, and it happened the way it did. And I just hope that people don't think that they're failing. Like each failure is a lesson to learn, to expand your knowledge, grow from experience, learn for the next point. And if they don't take away from that and realize what they're doing, and that it's all about that experience, failures, bad things just all that, like, grow from it. Don't just
it's a
like
part
chalk
of life.
it up.
Yeah, you're gonna face it. Just deal with it.
I'm just
and move
always
on.
shocked Ryan brings an animal home every time, because
And
to
a
me,
giant.
now that I do archery, it's hard. Like,
It's
and the
hard.
fact you got a moving target and you got to calm yourself down and hit it in the right spot to kill it. Like, I think it's like when I watch what happened to you, I go like, well, that would happen to me. Like, that just seems normal, right? I'm more shocked that people actually take animals down with a shot. Like, that seems really hard to do, So it's pretty impressive when somebody even gets an animal and they don't wound every single animal, right? Because it seems hard to me, because I don't do it, but it just seems like
And what was so cool to us about I think you touched on it a little bit ago, Hillary, is when we went through the project, there's a lot of days you don't kill anything. There's a lot of days you hear one bugle and you hike your butt off and you don't see anything. And so our thought was viewership is just going to go just in the dumps. And the amazing thing is actually it was the opposite. It went up those times just because it was relatable. It's happened to them. There's been so many days they've been out there, or all of us have, and not got anything. And so that was neat to us as a hunting community, kind of a thing, to where people kind of came together, and that's what the project turned out to be, was everybody coming together for all the same cause. It was really cool.
Yeah, it's interesting. There's so many more days afield or on the mountain that are unsuccessful than the ones that are.
Yes.
Right.
But I don't know. You guys were there for 52 days. How many bulls did you guys overall? You guys had a lot of other hunters
project,
involved.
I think we killed 14, 15, 14.
That's
bulls.
incredible.
Yeah.
Were you guys expecting anything like that?
We didn't know what to expect, honestly, and and that's just the ones that we killed. A lot of people shot at them, and missed them and such. But we didn't know what to expect, honestly. We went through the whole thing, like Kody was saying, and I would hold that camera in my face every day, and it'd be like, I don't know who's gonna watch this, but here we go. And it was just, I don't know. That's why I was talking to Kody the other day. I'm like, do you think that the next project is going to be as good just because we'll have these preconceived notions now of what happened this time?
Yeah.
It's going to be totally, I don't know. I hope it's not any different. I hope we do it the same way. But yeah.
I think I remember Kody talking on South Cox's podcast. And I think when you were just starting this and you check in every once in a while. And I remember you saying something like, you're blown away at how successful it's been already. This was early, and I think it was like the second big hunt. But just the Oregon hunt and how it started. I mean, it like set the pace.
Day one
was crazy.
I mean, with Casey's 6-yard shot, it was like you couldn't have scripted. Here we are. We're starting a long trip, and day one it happened.
That had to feel good.
It was crazy.
I wonder what do you think, honestly, with the project success would have been? Obviously, it's a huge success now, but if maybe a third of the bulls were taken, the success would have been a lot less.
That's a great question.
I mean, realistically, what set the pace? Oregon was stand-up stellar. We roll into Wyoming, tag out in Wyoming. So it's like, I think it got the hooks in a little bit, I mean, honestly, people like, holy cow, what's going to go? Go to Colorado.
Look at these guys are unstoppable.
Yeah, flop. We killed one on the first day. But had close encounters, and I think we shared – I was at full draw 3 different times on bulls inside 20 yards and never got a shot.
Yeah.
So it's –
That's what's so cool about the elk hunt and how that's your guys' platform with the elk, because at any opportunity, you guys are showing all the interactions. We're just sitting back waiting like, oh, this could be the one. This could be the one. So we're all sitting there looking. Me and my daughters will sit at the computer watching this. We're like, who sees the bull first, because, you know, the camera's behind you guys and you're looking for movement, and then, you know, my daughter would pick it out. And it's like any one of those things, it was so exciting. And, well, is this going to be the one that they actually get one? So it was super cool.
What we call it, the game of 8, right?
Game of 8 in Colorado, yeah.
Yeah, and it was like it would take 8 bulls pretty much getting them fired up to like maybe have that one after 8 bulls of calling
That
them
was
in
the
that
average.
we were going to have a.
Seemed like it anyway.
Yeah.
But
I mean, like I said, sitting back, I mean, what's success? It's been, I think, for us, the impact on people and hearing those stories back. And we had another guy in Portland at the Sportsman Show that came up. He's like, "Hey, I just want to let you know you changed my life." And I was like, "Oh, okay, great." And he's like, "No." He grabs me. He's like, "No, you did." He goes, I was sitting on the couch watching Land of the Free day 1, and I was like, I want to do that. And I'm extremely overweight, so the only way that I would let myself watch it is to get on the treadmill. He goes, I've lost 40 pounds during it, and since then I'd lost another 20 in February, so he's 60 pounds down. And he's like, I'm going to get a bow, and I'm going after it. And
it's been amazing.
Like, hearing that story is like, man, you're inspiring me because you're taking action upon it. You're making changes, and it's really cool.
Yeah, it's so cool, and hopefully a lot more of those stories will like make it in the uncut version when you guys are talking later.
Yeah,
they're so cool to hear.
Definitely.
So inspiring. But
definitely.
So what's up for this year?
Are you guys even talking about 2.0 here? Are you talking about
there's no secrets in this group.
Like,
there's no secrets.
You guys
in this
got
group.
like the calendar as far as what states.
Everything's already mapped out. We've got the divorce papers already signed up. No. We're gonna do it all over again. We're gonna do the whole. We won't do 50 days straight. Kody and I will split up in 2 different states. I'll go to Wyoming to hunt with Go Hunt, and Cody's going to go to Montana with Hushin towards the end. So we'll just do the whole month of September is what we'll do, and then with those separating us, we'll have a video for each day on each team, so it'll still end up being 50 videos.
So, yeah, we'll start in Oregon again. Kent from First Light's going to come out, hunt with us. Casey from Hush. And then Ben O'Brien will come out and hunt Roosevelt's with us. We leave there, go to Colorado. It's probably going to be the funniest elk camp is Jason Phelps, Nick Schmidt, and Dirk Durham.
Man. Dirk's going to be there.
And Schmidt and Durham.
Oh, I love it.
And him, him and Dirk are like stepbrothers. Well. It was...
Love
just
that guy.
Movie quote after movie quote the entire time. So, yeah, we'll do that in Colorado.
I've heard Dirk's like one of the funniest guys.
He's a great
super dry, just hilarious.
Hilarious.
Yes.
We had some times in Wyoming that the camera was off because it was, we were just rolling.
Oh,
yeah,
it's great.
So we do that, and then that's when we split up. Then Trent will do the Wyoming gig. We'll go up to Montana, Trevor and I, and then we meet back up and finish up in Idaho the 21st through the 30th or so with Pure Elevation. Exo.
Right on.
So,
cool.
Yeah, be home October 1st. So
home October 1st is what we're saying.
And then we get all watch.
Yeah,
November 15th is what I think we're going to push it back 2 weeks.
Okay.
Just give us a little bit of buffer.
A little bit more time to
edit. Exactly. It was, that was in itself a marathon more than hunting 100%.
Oh, the editing, you mean?
Yeah. And it was like,
you want to talk about the unhealthy hunter.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that because I know hours of sitting in front of a computer and just the fatigue of that, and you're not doing maybe all the things you like when you're hunting. You're out there walking around.
Absolutely,
you're
literally, and you're coming off from the best shape. I
know.
Literally, I don't think I was outside more than like 8 hours in those 50 days.
Yeah.
I don't know. It was the time from walking from my truck to the office. That was my outside time.
Yeah.
No kidding.
It's exhausting. Ryan doesn't do computer. Like, that's his motto, which someday he's going to have to get over.
I I refer to Randy Newberg a lot because of his not wanting to be like a handyman.
Yeah.
But I am not a techie guy either, so I'm trying to
it's true, though. I do believe it because I will do something, and then I'll say, okay, go, and he'll get on, and like something happens to the computer. He's like, where did it go? And I'm like, what did you do? What did you touch? I don't know. I didn't touch anything.
I looked at it.
So, but it's exhausting. Like, just, I would rather, he gets to go out and have these adventures and do all this stuff. And then he comes home and is like, here's the content. And I'm like, I could have sit in front of the computer and do stuff. And
Yeah.
it's like, how about I go out and have an adventure and you sit here and
There you
edit,
go.
you know? And he's like, no, that's okay.
That's
I don't
good.
need to do that.
Well, it was the hardest part, and we didn't quite realize. We talked about doing a daily upload. It was kind of like, should we do it every other day? And I was like, no, we got to do daily. And then once we did it, the clock never stopped, right? So
That's
we
the
get a
whole
video-
thing.
Yeah.
We'd go to Friday night. I'm like, it's the weekend. No, it's really not the
No.
weekend.
And then, I mean, basically, we get an episode done. We'd upload it for, tomorrow's episode. And we're like, sweet. We're, and night goes on. You wake up the next morning. You're like, we got to crank on this next one.
Groundhog's Day.
Yeah, exactly. 100%. So,
And then with the uncuts too, we were like, okay, we wanted to make them relevant, right? And so we'd film them every day, the day of we launched
which
the video.
I noticed when you watch it, it's like you guys are talking about the video. Like
and we're talking about the comments
real
from the,
time. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that's what kind of tied the whole thing.
Yeah.
I think it's a lot of the success in that whole thing was those
I
uncuts.
love this. I made a comment somewhere. We did some kind of post or comment about picking a blister or something with
Oh
the
yeah.
knife.
yeah.
I was like, you really want a knife that he picked up?
Yeah.
picked a blister with. Or
We didn't think that one through.
Yeah.
You're going to give us a knife
That was,
that you
he
didn't
about
think
cut
that
his
one through.
finger off in Idaho. And so
Yeah,
everyone's like,
yeah.
Trent, how's your finger? How's your finger?
Oh yeah, I get that a lot.
Let me see it. Let me see it.
I'm sure someone's happy to have it.
Yeah, it's been great. Yeah.
So
it's
were
been
you
good.
guys more physically drained or mentally drained at the end of those days?
At the end of the editing or the hunting?
No, the hunting.
The hunting?
You guys packed out a lot of bulls.
Yeah, we did and did a lot of miles. I kept a journal the whole way, which my wife is the one that said, you have to do this. And I'm like, I've never kept a journal in my life. And
That's cool.
And so I did. I kept a journal of miles hiked, and then I kept a journal of all the bulls and the encounters that we had that every day. It was really, really interesting. I'm super glad that I did in the end, because I'll always have that, right? But yeah, it was a long time. We hiked a lot. I think in all it was 524 miles. I think it was
No kidding.
in that time. So I mean,
Wow.
it was exhausting, but I think it was more exhausting at the end of, you feel in good shape at that time, I mean, everything was going, and then you get on the computer for the next long time, and then I just felt like a blob after that.
It was,
After that was it just
even
like,
now. I mean, I've been back running for like maybe a month or so, and it
Same
just
here.
feels so good to.
feels terrible.
I noticed you did it.
I know. I hate running too.
You did
I'm
a
like,
lot of running last year,
running
building
sounds
up
like torture,
to
slow
the
torture.
season, right?
Yeah,
it
fair
is.
amount. I used to run I would say from
He's done a lot.
2008 to about till when Lincoln was born. So about 2014, 2015 is when I would do some ultra stuff and do more and more. And now it's the time balance. So I try to run 4 days a week, 4 to 6 miles or something. And then I like running long stuff though. I'm going to do the death hike and
Oh yeah,
yeah,
that's
it'll
going to be fun.
Yeah,
Trent, you went on the death hike.
No, I'm booked actually on those days.
Yeah, so am I. I'm
So booked up.
I got to
So-
babysit.
Yeah.
I'm really excited about that.
Don't
it's gonna
go
be a
with
blast.
Ryan. 'cause
No,
you'll
that's
be-
I'm
Oh,
dying.
please.
Yeah,
I'm gonna have a hard time keeping up with Cody. I mean, the
Yeah.
guy's got a longer stride. He's got twice my stride. So.
Yeah,
He
and
does have a long
twice your
stride.
little weight package. No, yeah, I'm really excited. I mean, about that, and yeah, it sounds like it can be a crew,
Oh, man.
like 25 guys.
25 guys, 100 miles.
In 3 days.
It's in 3 days. But if
You
you ask,
understand why
but
I'm
if
not
you
going,
ask
right?
Travis Smith,
Oh,
he's saying
believe me,
2
I
days.
totally
He
understand.
wants to do it
I'm
in
out.
2 days.
I'm out. I've done. We ran the North Umpqua Trail, did 72 and 2 miles in 2 days, and stayed. Ty and Josh made like camp for us, and we ran into camp, and I was wrecked after that.
Yeah.
I mean, that was.
Of all the states that you guys hunted,
Yeah.
which one was your favorite? Which one was your least favorite?
Oh, wow. Man. So the neat thing, and this is what I say, I guess, to that question is the neat thing that I got to do was every state I got into, I'm with a whole new hunting party. So if it was the same guys, I think if it was me and Cody the whole time, we'd have killed each other.
Yeah.
I'm sure of it.
It's like-
Positive. But it was kind of neat because every 10 days, I'm with a whole new hunting partners. And that's another huge thing that we've never talked about really, I guess, is I don't know if you hunt solo a lot. And with new guys come you've never hunted with before. Hunting is pretty intimate. You do it your own way, or it's really different. And so it was just different how it's you get into this group of guys that I've never been around before, hardly ever hung around, like Corey and them. Every event we go and we have dinner or something like that, but we're not around them very often. And so you're actually hunting with them and Phelps's crew and all these guys. And so it's right off the bat, it's kind of that pecking order, right? A little bit like, where does everybody fit in here? I'm not sure. Can I throw out the idea we should go over there? You know what I mean? So it's a little different. And Wyoming was amazing. It was amazing. I enjoyed it. And I had the tag too in Wyoming, so that was kind of fun. But every state, man, it was had its own little special spot. It was definitely
Montana looked pretty miserable though.
Montana was brutal.
Yeah. I was there the same time you guys were in Montana. I was in a little bit different part of it.
Did you get that storm then?
Yeah. I got the storm. And then I stayed a little bit after when you guys were there, and I got another. It wasn't nearly as bad as the one, but it was still pretty cold. And still a lot of snow. And the bulls quit talking. It was.
See, that's the same thing that happened to us, and it was tough. It was tough.
Yeah.
But you prevailed.
I did.
How did that go? Like, tell me. I haven't heard that story. How you got that bull?
That's a good story.
Yeah. Well, this was. I got that bull not in born and raised fashion because they quit calling, man. I think I ended up tagging that bull on. Gosh, it was between the 7th and the 10th of October. Wow. Somewhere in there.
Okay.
And that came down to I was glassing up some bulls in places. I ended up going to a part of the southwest Montana that was a lot more open. I started in northwest corner, and it was really thick. Up there, it's all about calling.
Okay.
You're not ambushing. You rarely pull out your binoculars. But down there, it was more that, I was seeing bulls, and I could not get them to talk for anything. Bulls were starting to group up. It just felt like it was over. Well, I went into like old school, traditional, find a big track and track it down mode.
Oh, yeah.
Nice.
I can't remember the last time I had actually tracked down an animal. That's just not usually what happens
Coastal rifle
anymore.
season tactics.
Late season with snow, it's doable. Right, yeah, usually with the rifle.
Yeah.
But I had a bow in my hand. And so I ended up finding a place one morning where two bulls had come together. And they both had really nice, good, looked like heavy, mature bulls. And they scrapped. I mean, they were kicking up dirt and everything like that. And it was super cool to see. And then all I could think of was, well, I'm kind of at the end of the road here. They're not calling. They're not talking. I can't get anything going. I'm just going to get on a track and go for it. And so I picked one.
One of the two after they separated?
Yeah, I had no idea which one won.
Who won?
Or which one won.
You wish
it was like, at that point, I was like, I think they're both mature. They look good size. They look pretty even. Because they tussled for a while. I'll take either one. So I got on a track, and I went after it, just praying that the wind was going to be okay. Because, you're tracking them in the north slope, and the snow was crunchy.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it got to the point where, when you're on a track, you have no control of the wind because you have to stay on the track. Yeah. So if the wind hits you in the back, I was going to go back and get on that other track. Well, fortunately, that didn't happen.
Oh, cool.
So knocked an arrow, got into the north slope, assuming that bull would not go too far, just because I don't think he had to. No people around, there's nothing pushing him or anything like that. And he was already on the north slope. So I got in that timber, and, man, lo and behold, I tracked him down.
Wow.
And luckily, he stood up. We saw each other at about the same time, so I was not that stealthy when I got up on that bull.
Right.
We both saw each other at the same time. So I saw him get up, and my release was on. At the time. And I judged it to be about 40 yards. And so I pulled back, and it just so happened, complete luck, where he stood up, he gave me a perfect shot right behind the shoulder. And so I got a good shot in him, executed the shot. And so pretty happy about that. Ended up giving it some time, going up, found my arrow. And then I don't know if you guys heard all this with the bear.
I heard bits. Yeah, bits.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll try to make it short. So I started tracking it, good blood trail, and all of a sudden I was in the woods, probably 50 yards or something like that, and a very fresh bear track got on the track that I'm on.
No way.
So now the hair stands up on the back of your neck, and I don't have a pistol, but I got bear spray. So, I'm going, and now I'm really on edge, like really looking ahead of me and trying to glass everything. And it had, good blood. So I'm thinking, well, this can't be good because I know my bull, it was a good shot. He's going to go down. Now what am I going to do with this bear? Because he's probably not just going to give that bull up.
Right.
So lo and behold, I got up there, and I could see ahead of me about 30 yards or so, 20, 30 yards. And I saw this spot where it had just been tore up. Blood, a lot of blood. So the best I could figure is my bull laid down. And that bear got on that thing so fast that he must have got on him, and it was just a rodeo. And so somehow the bull got up, moved off a little bit, and I looked up into the timber, and that bull was actually standing. He was on his feet, which I was shocked at because it was a really good shot. A double lung shot. And the bear is standing in front of that elk, and the bull's got his head down, and he's looking right at that bear.
Best footage ever, by the
And
way.
he's by himself. No footage. It's called no footage ever.
Oh, man.
It's the story of our life.
Oh.
But it's the craziest thing. So all I could think of doing was, I had my pepper spray out. I set it in the snow. I pulled back, and I got another shot on that bull. Got a shot on that bull, and he started staggering. As soon as I shot, that bear turned and started coming straight down at me. And so immediately I grabbed the pepper spray. I had already 1,000 times played it in my mind. What am I going to do when I come up onto this bear? Because I knew he was going to be up there. And sure enough, and that bull came charging down. And just as he's hitting the brakes, I'm spraying with pepper spray.
You mean the bear?
The bear.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Not the bull.
I'm sorry. The
How
bear.
far are we talking here?
He was probably about, I would say, 20 feet at that point. I'm pretty close, 15, 20 feet.
This is grizzly.
Not grizzly.
This is a black bear.
Okay.
This is a black bear, but this was in grizzly country.
Yeah.
And the day before, just across the canyon, probably 400 or 500 yards, was a giant grizzly track. But I never did see a grizzly.
Right.
But when I first got on that track, I knew, I just had it in my head, this is not a grizzly. It's a smaller track.
Oh, gotcha.
It's a black bear track. But I hit that bear in the face, and he wheeled and took off.
So you actually sprayed him.
I nailed him. Yeah. Yep. Wow. And I took video. That's at the point when I turned my camera on.
We have a video on our YouTube channel of him afterwards. He took some video.
I was pretty shaken.
The camera is like this.
Oh, imagine.
And I don't get riled up that emotional very often on the shot. I can kind of keep my cool. Trying to hold that thing still at that point is impossible. So, yeah.
That's insane.
And you never had any other issues with bear from the pack out or nothing like that?
No. I broke that thing down in record time.
47 minutes.
Yeah, it was definitely a world speed record for breaking that bull down. But no, I had my eyes, the back of my head, top of my head. I was looking every which way, and I had that bear spray right on that carcass. So, yeah.
Wow.
But that was my experience.
That's cool. That's really awesome.
But yeah,
story.
no video to show the whole thing, so I was pretty bummed. But.
Well, he did get one video this year, and it was the kill shot of his Idaho buck, his mule deer. If you haven't seen that on our YouTube, that got over hundreds of thousands of views, at least on Instagram. And
a question I've always wanted, I've watched you forever. Do you love hunting by yourself more than with people, or tell me?
Well, kind of like what you were alluding to before with when you have a group dynamic, sometimes it can be difficult. And I've said this many times with my cousin Joe. He is the absolute best hunting partner you could ever ask for. Probably how you guys feel about each other. But there's always going to be that little thing. It's just me being selfish, obviously. But I never have to say, like, I may just get this feeling like, I think I should go up there. But I want to be polite.
You don't want to set yourself up for that.
Are you okay with us hiking up there? It's going to take us 45 minutes, and there's probably nothing on the other side, but I want to see it type thing. That's always an issue. And I don't know. There's something about hunting solo. At the end of the trip, when I've got everything done, if I was successful and I packed it out myself and I slapped that bag on my tailgate and I'm starting to drive home and everything was me, I don't know. It's just a feeling I get. Like, holy cow, it doesn't get any better than
I
this.
can't imagine it. I can't imagine it.
Well, his
I have-
Roosevelt he got
I have
this
nothing
year.
against hunting with a partner, though. Me and
Sure.
my buddy, we've hunted together a lot, and those are some of the best trips. But I also like to throw some solo trips in the mix for sure.
Well, we get the best footage from him when he's packing out an animal by himself, because his Roosevelt this year, he killed it in like a swamp or something and had to
I
get it
loved
out.
Skunk cabbage bottom.
Yeah.
It works.
And it was
Wingers,
like
Roosevelt
right?
country.
3 or 4 trips back and forth to get it out. And he did a lot of deep thought stuff on that with his phone. So I'd go through his phone and look at all these little
It gets
videos.
deep at that
and I
point.
was
When you're
like,
by yourself, you
can't
go
imagine.
deep. You
I
start
cannot
talking to
imagine.
yourself, and you go to places.
You
That,
go to-
especially
go
on
to
on the second and third trip out, you're really going deep. So
Yeah.
yeah,
That's awesome.
But-
That's so cool.
yeah, cool, man. Well, guys, I really appreciate you coming over
No, it's
here.
an honor
Oh,
and pleasure
thank
doing
you.
this
Yeah.
with
Appreciate
us.
You guys
Very
asking.
humbling. Thank you
Yeah.
guys for asking us.
Really appreciate it. And it was super cool that my wife actually got to sit in with this and
It's
talk
awesome.
to you guys as well. It's so cool.
awesome.
So
Yeah.
we're going to get out of here and probably head back to do some more BHA type things.
Yeah, I think the Wild Game
Absolutely.
Cook-Off started 12 minutes ago.
Uh-oh,
Oh.
we better get out of here.
Okay.
So, again, thanks, Cody.
Thank
Thank you
guys.
so
Good
much.
luck
Appreciate
this
it.
Yeah, I
year.
really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Likewise.
Okay.